test, test, test. Alright, testing out the balance between the mic and the music. Testing out the balance between the mic and the music. We want the music in the background while I'm talking. Alright, music is really loud, but I'm going to be loud too. Turn the music down even a little bit more. Let's see about this. We put the music down a little bit more, might be good. Yeah, it's kind of in the background. Okay, let's test it with the game audio going now as well and see what the balance is there. And you can still hear the Koreans in the background, but it's not too bad. Alright, switch forward and I'm talking again to make sure that the balance is okay. And I'm probably going to be talking a little bit louder like this, so let's test that out. Alright, seems good. there, ladies and gentlemen. Molchap here, coming at you with the IOPS OSL Finals from 2005. Welcome, everybody. We've got an exciting match for you guys today. I'm going to start off by giving a little bit of an introduction. If you are watching this on a VOD later, this is being streamed live. I'm streaming this live both on Twitch and on YouTube. And if you're not familiar with this whole setup, this is games that were played in 2005 that I'm casting live now. They were played in 2005, but they've never been cast in English before. We're doing an English cast. We're kind of paying homage to this classic era of Starcraft esports and looking back at some of the legendary matches that have happened in the past. So I've actually been casting most of the IOPS OSL. We did the quarterfinals, we did the semifinals, we did the third place match all on YouTube, and we're doing a live cast for the finals now today. So again, if you are watching this later on a VOD on YouTube, that's what's going on. We're doing this live, so there's going to be some hiccups here and there, but that's okay. And I am going to put timestamps in the video description if you'd rather just skip straight to the games, but we're going to have a whole pregame show here. We're going to talk about the players. We're going to talk about the history of the players. We're going to talk about the context of the situation of these games, because these games were played almost 16 years ago on this day of casting. They were playing on March 5th of 2005. And so we're gonna have to kind of look back a little bit and sort of pretend that we're in the past and look at what the context was in the situation. And you know, it's been really fun to watch these old games because of the fact that you know, we get to see the old meta, the old builds, the old way of playing, because it's different than 2020, 2021. It's even different than the games that I you know, grew up. I mostly started watching Pro Starcraft in 2007, 8, 9 when I started casting, and even the meta then is different than it was in 2005. So it's kind of interesting to see that evolution of things. So hope you guys are looking forward to it as much as I am. We have an incredible match today. This is going to be absolutely amazing. We have NaDa versus Julyzerg. Two absolute legends of StarCraft. And, you know, even in the 2010s and on, I think, into 2021, these guys are both still prominent figures in esports. I'm actually not sure what NaDa is up to right now, but he was a coach for a while. He had a couple other different ventures. He even started his own online retail thing called NaDa Mall to try and, you know, make use of his name recognition and what have you. But he stayed a lot in esports throughout his career, even after, you know, the point where he was competitive in StarCraft. Same with Julyzerg. Julyzerg actually you know, stayed competitive for a long time, tried to compete a little bit in StarCraft 2, and is now a League of Legends coach. So it's funny, a lot of the old StarCraft players became League of Legends coaches because, you know, League of Legends took over, and well, that's a whole other story. Maybe I'll talk about that later. But anyway, I'm really looking forward to this match. I'm sorry my green screen is wigging out a little bit. I've been messing with the settings, and the settings just never seem to stay correct. So you got a little bit of, oops, this side. Got a little bit of artifacts going on with the green screen, but oh well. You're not going to be looking at V for very long. We're going to be looking at StarCraft very soon. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into a little bit more information about these players, so we can have some context, so we know who we're talking about. So in case you do not know about these legendary players, you can know a little bit more about what they are about and what they stand for. So let's start off by taking a look at NaDa. All right, here we go. We're going to be looking at NaDa. He is from the team Pantech X. His nickname is the Genius Terran. He has a few nicknames as well, often called the Tornado Terran. I think in later years, I believe Tastosis dubbed him the Renaissance Nerd because he was so capable at doing a number of different things. Able to compete in StarCraft 2 as well, although I never got super far in that. But he is definitely someone to respect. And even in 2005, you know, we're sitting here in 2021 looking back and looking at all the things he did. Even in 2005, he was already a ridiculously accomplished gamer. Let's go ahead and look at some of those things that he's accomplished. I couldn't even list, you know, when I did the Boxer versus UV final, I listed out all Boxer stuff and it was just a wall of text. So I just summarized a little bit here in NaDa's accomplishments. He has also gotten 20 titles. 20 titles in the few years that he's been playing. I believe his first league was in 2001. He basically won everything in 2002. You know, he got six first places just in 2002, and it was pretty ridiculous that he was able to, you know, accomplish that much. And I forgot I was going to have some music on the background. There we go. Turn that on. So, and then over the course of the years since 2002, 2003, he got a few golds as well. 2002, he was basically unstoppable. 2003 and 4, he was still a high level competitor, although he wasn't quite as unstoppable. And here we are in 2005, and he's kind of like hasn't had a title in a little while, and he's trying to show that he's still the top tier player. Recently in the Golf King MSL, he got second place, losing to Go Rush in the finals, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later as well. But got second place in the recent MSL, and that was the first time that he'd gotten a real high title in some months. And so here he is in the finals of the OSL just a few weeks later. I think it's about a month and a half after the Golf King MSL finals. And here he is trying to get another title to show that he is not washed up. He is still a high-level competitor and still is the top tier. But let's look at what he's been up to recently. Let's see how he's been faring of late. His total record versus Zerg is 67% win rate in his career. Now that includes his 2002 years where he was unstoppable. The last 6 months been a little bit lower, but still 63% versus Zerg players. And some of those games have been against the highest level Zergs as well. So he's been showing some excellent Starcraft in the months leading up to this match as well. And we've looked at his recent notable matches versus Zerg players. The MSL finals, he suffered a 2-4 loss. It was a best of 7 to Go Rush in the MSL finals. And that was after beating Go Rush 3-2 in his earlier stage. So a little bit of mixed results there. You know, a total of 5 and 6 basically in that MSL against Go Rush. But then in the semifinal in this OSL, more recently, he just beat Go Rush 3-2. So he overcame one of his nemesis. He's kind of had two nemesis recently. Uv and Go Rush have both been his nemesis lately. And he overcame Go Rush, got revenge for that final loss in the MSL just a week and a half beforehand, and was able to advance to the finals by defeating Go Rush. And he's also gotten 2-0 wins over Yellow in both the OSL and the KTF Premier League in recent months. So, like, it's not like his 63% win rate in the last 6 months is against a bunch of scrubs or anything like that. He's been playing the top Zergs, the absolute top Zergs. Go Rush, Julyzerg, and Yellow are the best Zergs around in 2005 and 2004, and NaDa has been going up head-to-head against them. He's been beating them, except for, you know, we're going to see, he hasn't really played Julyzerg much recently, so we're going to see how he fares against Julyzerg in this situation. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and take a look at Julyzerg and find out a little bit more about him. All right, here we go. Julyzerg! And pay no attention to the fact that that the picture is actually from 2008, from when he won the OSL in 2008. But that's the only picture I could find of him where he actually was like looking at the camera and kind of looking badass. It's really hard to find pictures of pro gamers that looking badass, even though they always have them in the introductions, you know, staring at the camera and looking mean. It's hard to find those pictures separately for me to use. So anyway, Julyzerg. Kind of known recently as July. You know, he's cut off the Julyzerg, I guess. People just call him July most of the time. He is the only July. So, and you know, he has got this reputation of being able to win Star Leagues that he enters in July. This is played in March though, so he doesn't have that particular thing going for him. He's from the team Pirates of Space, and excuse me, Team Pirates of Space. POS stands for Pirates of Space, not piece of something. His nickname is Tushin, the God of War, and he has earned that reputation very much so. Now, he is a player who is relatively new on the scene compared to NaDa. You know, this is 2005, so if you've been playing for 4 years, you're an old hat, right? Julyzerg is relatively new to the scene. Let's go ahead and look at what his accomplishments are, though. He doesn't have a list of, you know, a billion accomplishments, but they're all very strong recently. The worst showing that he's had was a 3rd place finish in the Newcomers League, which was back in 2003. Then he's either won Star Leagues or he hasn't. He hasn't won every Star League. You know, he was eliminated in the quarterfinals of the previous OSL. He was eliminated in a couple other MSLs as well. But the ones that he got to the finals for, the ones that he got high up in, he actually won them. There was an all-star game match in 2003. That was his first big win. And then in 2004, he won the ITV Ranking League, which is, again, not really, you know, the same as a normal Star League, but first place in the Gillette OSL. He was a Royal Rotor, first time in an OSL, and he won it. He also got first place in the KTF Premier League, which is a big tournament as well. So Julyzerg looking really, really, really awesome in the recent years. This is 2005. Now, again, he did win the recent KTF Premier League, which was very recent to this. I think it was a couple months earlier or something like that. Didn't win the OSL, though. Didn't win the last OSL. Didn't get that far in it. Didn't win the previous MSL either, because that was Goraj versus NaDa in the finals there. But he's looking to get a 2nd OSL championship here. He's looking to, again, show that he was not a flash in the pan in 2003 and 4, that he has the staying power. And of course, we know that, looking back, that he ended up having the staying power and winning Star Leagues up until 2008. But is this one of the ones that he's going to win? Is he going to be able to secure his legacy here in 2005 is the question. Let's go ahead and take a little bit more at his situation right now, his stats. His ZVT on par with NaDa's TVZ in career, 65% win rate. However, in the last 6 months, only about 50%. So he's been a little bit slow in the last 6 months on those. And you know, it's interesting to think about that because we saw him versus Good Friend. There was a couple games where he was a little bit sloppy, right? And I wonder if maybe something has slipped a little bit, because if we look at his notable matches, he was the one that beat Uv. Had a 25-game win streak in professional games versus Zerg. He seemed to be unstoppable versus Zerg players. He could not be stopped, and Julyzerg stopped him, beat him in the finals of that OSL a couple of seasons ago. But since then, he did beat Good Friend in the semifinal, looked a little bit sloppy on a couple games though, lost to Uv a couple times in December. Of course, he did, you know, I think it was a 3-2 victory in those OSL finals before, but still. But he did also beat Midas in the MSL recently, and he beat Boxer and Good Friend in the KTF League, which he, of course, went on to win. So, you know, he's been showing some strong results. I'd say not quite as strong as NaDa maybe, but still, you know, you cannot underestimate Julyzerg. This is in 2004 and 5, he is the ZVT player. He beat Uv, who could not be beaten, and showed that it was possible. And I don't know if anyone's beaten Uv in a ZVT since then either, actually. So, you know, it's really an accomplishment. It shows that you know, he might be sloppy here and there, but he's capable of the highest level of ZVT possible. So Julyzerg is going to be a super high competitor for NaDa. So let's go ahead and look again at both of them head-to-head, because I've talked about their matches versus other people. What about versus each other? Let's go ahead and transfer over here. All right. So we got NaDa versus Julyzerg. They have played 5 times. They've played 5 times in their career. And it was all in 2004, actually, but only a couple of them in recent. Well, a few of them have been recent. So in December, they played in the KTF Premier League, which Julyzerg went on to win, and Julyzerg won 2-0 against NaDa. So NaDa lost both games in that. But NaDa did beat Julyzerg in the group stage of this very OSL in that same year. So, or that same month. So, you know, they traded 1-2 basically in December, and in their total career in 2004, 3-2. So it's really kind of tough to say. There's you know, they don't have a lot of history against each other to draw upon, but it is about even. So I'm hoping that we're going to see a nice even matchup here it should be pretty cool to see that. Okay, so that's basically the situation that we have. Both of these players, extremely strong players, extremely strong in this particular matchup, and about dead even versus each other in their history as well. So I'm looking forward to a pretty even match, basically, is what I'm hoping for here. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the maps. And hold on just a moment as I pull that up. And where is the map list? Map list is gone. Hold on a moment. Alright, well, let's at least go to here and we can start showing the maps. And for some reason, the list of the maps has disappeared. Hold on just a second. Sorry, guys. I am the caster and the producer at the same time, and so I am trying to find something that has gone missing from my screen. And I had this all running just a moment ago, and everything was fine. There it is. Okay. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and transition over to this. All right, so let's go through the maps. Sorry about the little hiccup. Just fire the producer, someone in chat says. Yeah. Well, I'm not getting paid for this, so there you go. All right, so game number 1 and 5, if it gets to a game 5, are going to be on the map Requiem. So we have the map Requiem right here, and let's go ahead and do this. We have this is a very interesting map. We can take a little bit closer look at it actually here. It's got 4 spawn points. You know, if you've been watching any of my YouTube series, you've seen me talk about this map a number of times. 4 spawn points. We've got the low ground mains on this map, and then wide choke points next to the natural. So that can be kind of a bad thing for Zergs, actually, because, you know, Zerg wants to be able to put up sunken colonies, and I guess in a way it's bad for Terrans too, because Terrans want a smaller choke point that they can kind of choke things off very small and have 1 point of entry that, you know, Zerglings or whatever are going to be trying to go through. And, you know, it's a lot easier to defend a small choke point. So a little bit difficult for the Terran players. Terran players, however, tend to be very aggressive on this map. We see a lot of 2 barracks play, 2 barracks off of 1 base rather, where they're, you know, going out and being aggressive early on and then expanding after the fact if need be. This does have a career percentage of 56% favoring the Terran players. So this is a slightly Terran favored map, although, you know, keep in mind, and I'll just say this once, you can keep this in mind for all of these maps, this is an era in 2004 and 5 when Terrans are just winning a lot in general. So that may skew the map stats, so it may not be that this is a slightly Terran favored map as much as Terran is just doing better in the meta in Starcraft in this time period. So that might be what the situation is. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to map number 2. And I gotta adjust one more thing here real quick. And we're gonna do that. And all right, just got to change this. There we go. All right, so map number 2 is gonna be Alchemist. Alchemist as another interesting map. We've got all the maps are really weird compared to what we think of as maps in terms of their construction. Alchemist is also a very strange map. We've got 3 spawn points on this map, so 3 possible spawns, and there's different terrain between each map. And you've probably heard me say this before if you've heard me cast these maps for other games, but 3 spawn points, and then, you know, between the top left and the side right, there's valleys and ramps. Between the side right and the bottom left, there's bridges. And between the bottom left and the top left, there's just choke points. So it's the spawn positions actually matter a lot on this map because it's going to determine what kind of tactics are able to be used. If there's ramps and valleys and bridges, it's a lot easier to defend, you know, for either player. But it also does mean that regardless of that, there's a long road back entrance to each base. So even if you're defending the close position between you and your opponent, and you've got a nice ramp to hold, you've got a nice natural expansion you can hold as well. The opponent can send units back down around the bottom of the map and can attack you from behind, basically. So it's still difficult to be able to hold this. And we've seen this time and time again. Now, I've seen this kind of favor Zergs because the Zerg's mobility with Mutalisks tends to be very strong. You can go around and attack the natural, and you can also run around the back and attack the back of the base, and the Mutalisk can get to both locations very easily, because you can see the middle of the map is just a giant unpassable area as far as ground goes. But the Mutalisk can just fly over there and get from one battle to the next very easily. However, that being said, it does have a 58% win rate in TVZ, so it's a Terran favored map as far as the stats go, but again, could be due to the Terrans more than the map. So that's going to be game number 2. All right, game number 3 is going to be on the map Neo Guillotine. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that up right now. There we go. All right, Neo Guillotine. Another very interesting map. This is something that's been... We've seen some crazy stuff on this map. We've seen some base trade situations on this map. A lot of crazy stuff, because this is a map that has, again, 4 spawn points, but it's a very weird construction. You have your main base, and then you have a natural expansion that's kind of way out and around the corner. It's not really connected to your main base in the way that you think of natural expansions usually are. So it's kind of a strange thing. And then you have this choke point that is kind of in the middle, towards the middle of the map, that technically defends both of the bases. But the bases, then you have your main base, your natural, and your choke point are all kind of far apart. So it's a little bit hard to defend. We've seen Zerg struggle with this actually on this map because of the fact that their choke point is away from their natural. You can't just build in your natural and then build your defenses there. You actually need a 3rd hatchery at the choke point in order to build defenses. And we've actually seen NaDa abuse that a little bit by delaying that hatchery to delay the defenses and then going for an early push and doing damage and that kind of thing. So it's an interesting situation. But, the spawn points again are going to matter. If you spawn cross positions on this map, it's a very far distance to travel across this map if you're diagonally from your opponent. So again, slightly Terran favored. TVZ 53% on the map Guillotine. So it's a little bit of something to worry about there. All right, the last map of the series, not the last. Well, I mean, the first map, Requiem, will be played twice potentially, but the last of the 4 maps that we might see is going to be Dream of Ballet, and that is going to be this map right here. Dream of Ballet, another very interesting map. You have the 4 spawn points, right? And they're all on these little islands, and on the island, there's a natural expansion, but the gas and the minerals of your expansion on your island are different places. So you can't just put down one hatchery or one command center and get both of them. However, you can distance mine with, I think, 5 or 6 workers, and you can actually still reach, you can put your command center at the minerals, and you can mine 6 workers on the gas, and you can still get it. But there is a second gas available. It's very important for the Zergs to be able to do that. Sometimes you see the Zergs players go for that gas first, actually, instead of the minerals, because of the fact that the gas can be so important for the air units that are necessary on this map. You need dropships, you need air units, and you see a lot of interesting situations in TVZ where you have, the Terran is trying to float their buildings down to the low ground in order to be able to have a presence on the map and try and pressure the Zerg. But then they're vulnerable on their main island, and when the Zerg comes in with air units there, it's harder to defend. As a result, sometimes we see Terrans go mech on this map, actually. And it's interesting to see the different dynamics of it. But one thing that's interesting to note is if the Zerg can take control of this map early, if the Zerg can get early control of the game, there is a double gas expansion in the middle of the map. And if the Zerg has enough control to take that middle expansion early, they have 4 gases off of 3 bases, essentially. All right, 4 gases. And once they get that 4th gas, they can just start pumping out all the tech units. They get Guardians, they get Ultralists, they can drop them all over the place. There's lurkers everywhere. It's ridiculous. So this can snowball even though this is a Terran favored map, again, 58% win rate for Terran. If the Zerg gets a little bit of a strategic advantage, it can snowball out of control for the Zerg player. So something to keep in mind there as well. All right, so that is the maps that we're going to be looking at today. And yeah, like I said, the first game is going to be on Requiem, second game on Alchemist, third game on Neo Guillotine. This is a 5-game series. It's a best of 5, I should say. And so, you know, whatever happens, it's going to be settled in those 5 games. If it does get to a 5th game, Requiem will be the one played twice. And it's always interesting that they have that situation where the first game is also the last game, because then you can actually, in the last game, you can kind of draw information from the first game in order to find out more information about what's going to happen, what your opponent's strategy is, and that kind of thing. So, all right. Well, that's pretty much it. We've got this situation set up. Like I said, these are 2 of the highest level competitors. They're both champions. They're both multi-time champions. They've both won championships or gotten to 2nd place in NaDa's case very recently. They're at the top of their game. I am excited. I hope you are too, to see this matchup, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I think without further ado, we are going to get into game number 1 of the IOPS OSL finals between NaDa and Julyzerg. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I am excited. I hope you are too. Look at the crowd. Yes, as someone in the chat says, we got 340p or 360p replays. That's all we have, unfortunately, these old games. That's all we have to work with, but I personally am fine with that. I think it's, I mean, I'm not fine with it, but like, you know, it's still great. It's still great to watch these old matches. But look at the crowd there. We got a nighttime match. It's an outdoor studio. IOPS Star League. The commentators on the stage. Look at the crowd. Man, if you ever get a chance to go to a big esports tournament in Korea or even elsewhere, it's amazing to go to and see the crowds there and just have everyone cheering for video games. It's astonishing. I highly recommend it. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting into game number 1 of the IOPS Star League Finals. Away we go. All right, and over here on the right side of the map, Requiem, we're going to have our green Terran player. There he is. NaDa. Ionyol. And up here at the top of the map, our Zerg player, who's, I guess, orange. It's going to be Julyzerg. Park something. I actually don't remember his Korean name off the top of my head. Someone in the chat asks, are these casts going to be put on YouTube? Yes, they are. This whole VOD is going to be put on YouTube. Probably tomorrow or something like that. Oh my goodness. There's a white person in the audience. Whenever you're in the studio in Korea. Well, actually, I don't know if it's the case anymore because there's been so many more non-Koreans visiting Korea in recent years that it's maybe not as much of a novelty anymore. But back in like 2005 in this case, or even through 2010, there was someone who wasn't Korean in the audience. They were going to show them on camera because it was such an interesting thing. So I think those are Julyzerg's parents. The parents are almost always at the finals, and I think they said Julyzerg's name. Oh, his name is actually on my screen. Yeah, Pak Sung-jun is his Korean name. And that's what the Korean commentator said right when they showed those 2 older folks. I say older, I'm probably almost as old as them now, but but older than the players, for sure. But in any case, like I said, we're probably expecting NaDa to go for a 2-Brex play. In fact, his SCV is kind of there in position to do so. We actually have Julyzerg going for a hatchery first. often see Zerg players go for the spawning pool first on this map because of the fact that if you don't have early attack units, it's very, very difficult to deal with an early push, basically. Because if you get locked in your base, especially against the Terran can contain the top of your ramp, and it's very difficult to deal with that. So, a little bit interesting to see Julyzerg doing this. Of course, it doesn't mean it's an error. It just means that Julyzerg is maybe practice this specific build in order to make it, you know, especially well suited for the situation. He's gonna know that NaDa's gonna do the 2 barracks play. I wonder if those are NaDa's parents. Were they young? They looked a little young, actually. Maybe they weren't even his parents. Maybe there was someone else, coaches or something like that for the team. I recognize some of the coaches from the old days, but not all of them. In any case, moving forward, NaDa getting his second barracks completed. He's getting his gas as well. So it looks like we're going to see this normal play. Again, normal for 2005. You get 2 barracks. You put out some Marines. Your academy finishes. You get 2 medics, 2 firebats. Look at that guy! He is so excited! I think that was another player, actually. I think that might have been one of the other players from his team or something like that. I'm not sure. But in any case, yeah, so you get your academy up, you produce Marines while your academy's building. We see the academy there. Now Julyzerg has gotten his spawning pool up. He's gonna be fine. He's figured this out very well. Usually, you know, and we saw him drone scout as well, so it might have been part of getting the hatchery first, is getting the drone scout out there to make sure he knew exactly what was going on with this Terran opponent. Now, is he going to go for an attack here before the medics are finished? It looks like he's poking it a little bit. He's going to lose a couple Zerglings in his attempt to see what's going on. And the Marines are actually pushing out on the map. This is something we've seen NaDa do once or twice before, is push out a little bit early. He's not waiting for those 2 medics and those 2 firebats to push out as a cohesive unit. He says, you know what, you're expecting that timing, I'm gonna push out a little bit earlier than that. I'm gonna put that pressure on you earlier, make you build those sunken colonies immediately, or you're gonna die to this quick Marine push. He does have the academy up. He's gonna be producing, I'm actually curious to see if he produces firebats or medics first. But you know, he's going to have those tech units up and ready to go. We already see 1 sunken colony up for Julyzerg. He's in a good spot there. So I think he's fine against this earlier push. Well, it's not really an earlier push, but the Marines only, basically. I think he's fine against the Marines only. But with the firebats and the medics coming as well. Oh, and a couple of firebats actually get caught and fall back a little bit. They were on attack move, and they follow that Zergling backwards a little bit. That's going to delay those firebats' entrance into the fray in the front for a little bit. And he's actually not even, he's stimming in with a bunch of Marines. He's got the firebats there. There's more firebats coming in the meantime, but they're not there. Julyzerg doesn't have the Zerglings to deal with this. The firebats are dead, but it doesn't even matter because it doesn't have any Zerglings to deal with it. The Zerglings are a little bit late. Now they pop out just as the firebats come in for reinforcements. The firebats completely roast all the Zerglings. The Marines make short work of the sunken colonies, and looks like we're going to see a very quick game number 1 here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how Julyzerg can come back from this. There's 4 firebats there. Actually, it looks like one of them may have died. 3 firebats now, and the Marines roasting his Hydralisk. And there's the GG. Wow, a very quick game number 1. Julyzerg going down very, very quickly to just a quick push, and he just wasn't prepared for it. And I'm not sure why he wasn't. It's, you know, it's weird. We've seen this a lot, actually, where the Terrans push out and the Zerg players just don't have enough stuff. And we've seen Julyzerg fall prey to it as well, in particular, a couple times. So I kind of makes me wonder, like, why they don't build more sunken colonies, but at the same time, if they do build more sunken colonies, their economy is not doing well. So, you know, they have to do something. A very, very quick win there for NaDa, and I'm just, again, I'm not sure what Julyzerg was planning there. Only having 1 sunken colony. He was making more, but, you know, he should have known that push was coming earlier. He saw it coming. His Zerglings were there. He saw it coming. And he didn't make more Zerglings yet. It looked like he made maybe a couple more drones or something like that. He built 1 extra sunken colony when those early Marines were coming out, and he just was not prepared. And, you know, again, I'm not sure what it is about that build exactly, but, you know, there's something about that build that Zerg players just have a hard time with in 2005. dealing with that push where they just don't have enough sunken colonies up. And I am not high enough level player to understand why they don't have enough sunken colonies, but we've seen a number of players fall to that. Some players can defend it as well, though. We've seen it be defended too. So I'm not saying it's like an impossible push to defend against or anything like that. So anyway, game number 1, very quickly going to NaDa. So we're going to go ahead and put a win on the board for him. Oop, hold on a second. If I can get... oh, my OBS is being kind of dumb. All right. And I've got... here we go. Sorry, bear with me a little bit. And there's the win button. All right, so we can put on the win on the board for NaDa. So, quick win for NaDa. Game number 2 is going to be on Alchemist. And you know what? That was pretty quick. Now, again, you know, in these situations, you know, neither of these players is new to the stage, right? Both of them have been on final stages before. Both of them have won on final stages before. So I don't think nerves or anything or have anything to do with it. But momentum, even amongst the top players, even amongst experienced players, momentum is crucial. And so losing that first game is kind of like losing the first 1.5 games in a way, right? Because it's a situation that you know, you kind of get a little bit concerned about what's going to be happening next. You feel bad. It gets into your head a little bit sometimes. I don't know if it's going to affect Julyzerg necessarily, but it's something to consider. So game number 1 goes to NaDa, a very quick win with a very quick push. You know, I hope we're not going to see Julyzerg fall to something like that again, because it's you know, he's got to be on the lookout for it in the future. All right, let's go ahead and get straight into game number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and check out game number 2 on Alchemist. All right, here we go. We're starting into game number 2. Got this old school intro. All right, game number 2 between Julyzerg and NaDa. A lot of pressure here on both players. A little bit less pressure on NaDa now, though. It's you know, it's a big deal to win that first game. You know, it just puts the stats really in your favor in a significant way. That makes it gives you some comfort, some room to work with. It doesn't mean, you know, you can relax though. It doesn't mean you can relax at all. You still have to keep going forward. Still have to be pushing. You know, we saw you know, a couple series recently that we've casted. It was a 2-0 deficit, and someone came back and won 3 games in a row, or someone looked like they were on the ropes, 2-1 maybe, and they were able to come back and win the series regardless. So having a 1-0 lead does not necessarily mean NaDa can back down by any means. All right, here we go. Game number 2 beginning of the OSL finals. Here we go. And in the top left of the map, we're going to have our Terran player NaDa. He's going to be, it looks like a yellow Terran player, maybe orange, hard to tell. There he is. And on the right side of the map, we're going to have our blue Zerg player, Julyzerg, the God of War. All right, now I talk about this every time, but it is very notable. The spawn positions mean different terrain. So this is a very interesting spawn position. We have basically, you know, if you start at top left, where NaDa is, and you go to the right, there's going to be a ramp down to a valley, a ramp up to an island, a ramp down to a valley with an expansion, and then a ramp up into Julyzerg's main. So we've got multiple ramps to hold. Now, if a Zerg player can get lurkers out and put them on those ramps, it's going to be extremely easy to defend. Now, NaDa can attack all the way down the left side of the map. You can see his scouting SCV is actually going that direction. You can go all the way down the left side of the map. It's much, much wider terrain. Open choke points, much more difficult to defend. For both players, that is. But you can go down that bottom left area and then go around the bottom of the map. Got some NaDa fans there. Cute accessories. You can go around the bottom of the map with your forces as well, and you can attack from behind. Now, the bridges on the bottom of the map are also very defensible for a Zerg player. In fact, you often see Zergs get their expansion. We're going to see that right now. Zergs get their expansion on that spot, regardless of which direction the opponent is, because it's just easier to defend. You can put lurkers on that ramp or sunken colonies next to that ramp, or sorry, bridge, and it's very, very easy because bridges are just super bad to get across. Your units are attacking across, they get caught up attacking the defenses, and then the units behind it can't get forward, and you have a very small ability to have all of your units in play, basically. So, very defensible position for this expansion for Julyzerg. Now, on the other hand, I don't know if we're going to see NaDa get an expansion, actually, but he's going to go for this 2 barracks play, again, very early on. Going to put the pressure on. And, you know, it's interesting. We have seen mech on, like, early vultures on this map sometimes. So it's something we could have seen, but we're not seeing it this time. NaDa's just going to go for the same build. Now, here's the interesting thing, though. Like, this is what Goodfriend did, basically, against Julyzerg. He went 2 barracks every single time, and it didn't work very well. Okay, so now Julyzerg getting his 3rd hatchery at the ramp, so he can put sunken colonies at the ramp. So he'll have defenses on both spots. That seems to be what he's going for right now. He says, you know what, I want to be defended first. I want to get my defenses up, then I'll get my mutalisks up, and then I'll worry about getting map control and pushing out and getting an advantage in the later game. That's what his plan is right now, is to get secure first, basically, and not worry about being aggressive. He just wants to get that security, get things going. He's getting some Zerglings out, in fact, just to make sure that he can go after this the SCV, but also to get around the map. It looks like he's actually going to send his first Zerglings. You know, you got to, when it's a long distance to go around, you have to invest. You know, in Starcraft, Starcraft is a game where you have to be thinking 3 steps ahead of your opponent, and not actually stealing the gas in the main, actually, which is interesting because Julyzerg has an expansion he can get gas at if need be, so it's not like he's really delaying the gas that much, but at the very least it's a scouting maneuver as well. Yeah, so the second gas being taken for Julyzerg. But yeah, Starcraft, you have to think several steps ahead of your opponent, and here we go. The hatchery pops. The colony needs to go down quickly. He needs to get that colony down. I'm sure it's morphing right now, but he needs to get that sunken up before these Marines arrive. Does he have the Zerglings to fend this off long enough? The colony is half complete. The Marines are falling back. Okay, so this was a feint a little bit by NaDa. He's pushing and saying, look, you need to make sunken colonies or you're going to die. And he did make the sunken, but that means he's also not going to die. It's a little bit close. I don't know. You know, the thing is like NaDa didn't want to risk it, because if he had like some kind of a map hack or something like that, he could see the amount of Zerglings. He could maybe make the decision about going in, but if he goes in on that one sunken colony, and it's just the sunken colony, he can kill the sunken colony, he can do a lot of damage. But if he goes in on that sunken colony, and it's that sunken colony and 12 Zerglings, he loses all of his Marines. The counterattack is devastating. He gets locked in his base, and he loses the long game if he survives. So it's kind of like a good idea to push out with those Marines, but it's a bad idea to push all the way and actually attack with those Marines. So very smartly done by NaDa to pull back. He already did the damage by forcing Zerglings, by forcing a sunken colony. He already did some damage to Julyzerg's economy, essentially. So pulling back, building an expansion of his own is a smart move. I'm a little bit interested to see that he is building this expansion, though, and playing a little bit defensive now. He's got his Marines kind of going back and forth between his main and his natural. He's got this other group on the other side. He has to split his forces. Both players have to split their forces. But Julyzerg has run some Zerglings around the bottom of the map, and that's kind of what I was going to try and get at earlier, is you need to send out your attack force, the flanking attack force, you know, 2 minutes ahead of time before they're going to flank, because it's such a long distance around the bottom of the map. But you have to send those units, because you have to be thinking about 2 minutes ahead of time, you know, several steps ahead of your opponent. What are you going to be doing? Spire going down now for Julyzerg. He's also got a second gas, so he's going to be able to produce a lot of mutalisks. He was able to kill off that partial refinery pretty quickly. NaDa moving out with a little bit of a squad here. He's positioned. He's kind of being a little bit taunting, moving back and forth with his group on the sort of the plateau between him and Julyzerg, but not committing either way. But also he's got this other squad defending at the bottom, so the flank doesn't work. These Zerglings are going to maybe do some damage. Is he actually going to get any SCVs? The SCV's not really responding very well, but he's got one Zergling attacking each SCV instead of all 3 Zerglings attacking one SCV. So the SCVs actually survive. The Marines fall back. They deal with the situation rather well. So no damage done to NaDa's economy, essentially. And Julyzerg just lost several Zerglings, both in the bottom and in NaDa's main. So a little bit of a inconvenient loss there for Julyzerg. His Spire's about to finish, though. He's got a nicely defended position on both sides of the map. So Julyzerg is... Now is his time that he's going to be able to try and make something happen. Now is his time he's going to be able to try and push out and do some damage. He's going to have those Mutalisks out. He doesn't really have to worry about a big attack right now from the Terran player because of the strong defense. Actually, does he... He doesn't have any sunken colonies, actually. He doesn't have any sunken colonies in the south. So, you know, if he saw the Marines move out, he could build them. So it's still not that dangerous of a situation. Because having the high ground and the ramp to defend his third base, I guess, in the top there, the one we're seeing right now. This is not really a base, but his third position, third hatchery, is really, really strong. So he doesn't have to worry about that too much. So he can be pretty aggressive now. And we're going to see Julyzerg, who is, you know, all of these old school Zerg players, they are often super aggressive. Julyzerg is a very aggressive Zerg player. He tends to, when he gets ahead, some players will use that as an excuse to make another expansion and that kind of thing. Julyzerg, no. He's the type to make more units and go for the throat. And here he is going in on the south. And again, NaDa's units are split, but Julyzerg's are not. His Mutalisks and his Zerglings are all in the same place. He's able to get some decent damage done. He kills off the turret, and he's actually fallen back. Why did he fall back with the Mutalisks? He could have taken out that turret and taken out a couple of SCVs. I guess there's more turrets there on the bottom of that base than I saw. And so that might have been why he fall back. He didn't want to take too much damage on those Mutalisks. Because, you know, the Mutalisks are also... They're also a threat on the map. So they're useful for attacking. But just the fact that they can attack, a threat on the map means that they... you know, NaDa has to be defensive. He has to build more turrets, etc. So he wants to make sure he keeps them healthy as well. And Julyzerg has actually built a fourth hatchery, a third base, in the southern position. Now this is really interesting because it's in a spot that is not one of those well-defended spots. Now the choice was between that and the northern base, which was even worse actually. So this is actually a good spot. And actually NaDa is coming in for an attack with a small squad. Julyzerg is in position to defend it. He's building the sunken colonies. The sunken colonies are a little bit late, but the Zerglings and the Mutalisks being there are enough to spook him back away from those sunkens. And whoa, NaDa is actually moving out with a huge force. He sees that the weak point, the chink in the armor, is down at the southern position. The weak point in the wall is at this spot in the south, and he's moving his entire army to push that position. Is Julyzerg going to be able to have enough to deal with it? He's rallying all of his forces down that direction, and this, you know, the strength of the northern ramp position is making it so that he can do this. And actually, Julyzerg going in and attacking the forward group before the second group gets there to reinforce. This is huge. Julyzerg doing major damage to NaDa's army, basically. He's going in for a surround. The Zerglings are doing massive damage as well. He's going to annihilate every single Marine and all of the medics. Julyzerg has taken the army, which was divided in half, and killed each half separately, handily, losing almost nothing. He lost some Zerglings, maybe one or two Mutalisks, but losing very little, and absolutely annihilating NaDa's army. Just completely obliterating it. NaDa is now in dire straits. He's got two bases, but he's going to be able to produce a lot of units, but he is stuck in his base right now. He has to play defense because he is hurting so badly, having just lost like 3 dozen units and barely killing anything. Julyzerg coming in with some Zerglings, harassing SCVs in the main as well. Looks like he's not going to get any damage done. Kills the Marine. Might have gotten an SCV that I didn't see, but yeah, things looking really bad for NaDa right now. Now he's not out of it yet. He can still try and come back in this game, but this is, you know, the situation where we were talking about where Julyzerg, not as much on this map, but in general. You know, I was talking about on Dream of Ballet, it's really snowbally map, but Zerg players can snowball in general. If the Zerg player gets control of the map, they can get so much of an economy, it could be difficult to come back. So NaDa is in dire straits, but you know, the beauty of Terran Macro is that You know, this is kind of an era where Terrans were really macroing, starting to macro hard, taking after Uv and doing this sort of thing. Oh, the lurkers get in position just in time. He's going to try and stim past them. He scans and stims to try and kill those lurkers, and the lurkers are actually now forced to fall back. They're like, we're built to kill Marines, but this is a little bit too much. Is he going to burrow at the bottom of that ramp? It looks like he's going to fall all the way back to the Sunken Colony defense line. Now, Julyzerg was making another base, I thought, at like the 7 o'clock position. I'm not sure where that is now, though, actually. But it looks like he's been forced to cancel that because this secondary push from NaDa, you know, even though he lost so many units, NaDa is still able to... Oh, no. Are the lurkers stuck? Can they not get back past his wall? Julyzerg wants to counter attack on the north, but his lurkers are blocked by his own Sunken Colonies, and this is delaying his push by at least 30 seconds. This is actually a really big deal. NaDa's forces are on the south of the map. The bulk of his forces are on the south of his map, so this is a good time to strike. But look at the defenses NaDa has set up. He's got turrets, he's got 2 bunkers, he's got really good defenses. Now NaDa threatening to push down here at the bottom of the map. If he can push in there and break this, it will be huge. He'll be able to take a big advantage. But there's so many lurkers in the Sunken Colonies as well. There's even lurkers behind the Sunkens, and everything gets slaughtered. NaDa losing another squad. Julyzerg going for the counterattack at the north as well, pushing in with lurkers and lings and the Mulas. But there's a huge army of Marines coming in from the side. The turrets are able to get complete detection. Science vessels overhead just in case as well. The turrets, the bunkers, none of it falls. Nothing dies. Nothing dies. NaDa holds. Oh my goodness, NaDa actually holds without losing very much. You know, Julyzerg had a huge advantage from annihilating all of NaDa's armies, but, you know, he's now made back that much as well. He killed a bunch of Mulas. He killed a couple dozen Zerglings. He killed 3 or 4 lurkers, maybe 5. The amount that NaDa lost earlier has now been counteracted. Julyzerg has lost just as much stuff because those were expensive tech units that he lost. Those were not just Marines. Those were the tech units. He lost a bunch of Zerglings as well, of course, but that was a huge deal. NaDa now transferring SCVs to a 3rd base, by the way, which I think he's made at the 9 o'clock position. So Julyzerg now in a difficult position here, and he's found the extra base. Okay, the extra base that he made was actually at the top right, and it's going to get cleaned up very quickly. I don't think Julyzerg can defend that. He's just going to let it go. There's nothing he can do. He just lost so many units that he doesn't have the defenses to actually deal with that. Now, high ground on a ramp with lurkers and Sunkens, he can defend, so this isn't going to end him. But it's enough that he can't save that base. But he actually sends in some forces to die after losing the base. But Julyzerg, you know what? He's had three gas for a while. He's trying to get a 4th gas. We're seeing the Hive Tech come out. Ultralists are on the map now. I'm going to try and see if I can keep track of the upgrades. It looks like there's not really upgrades on those Ultralists. It's hard to read the pixels on this map. Can't really tell, unfortunately. But, I'm gonna try and see what the upgrades are on the Marines. They're probably better upgraded is what I'm thinking, because I don't know if we've even seen an evolution chamber. The Ultralists, of course, have their own. Oh, look at this. NaDa is like building a bunker at the southern position just to make sure that Julyzerg can't take that base. Julyzerg says, you know what? I'm gonna build behind enemy lines. He's actually building a hidden base in the bottom left, sending Ultras and Lings down to the south part of the map as well. I wonder if he's going to give up that top right base, or if he's going to try and go for it again. Oh, look at this. NaDa trying to use an eraser trick with his science vessels, but some Scourge are going to come in, and they're going to be able to kill off one of those vessels. The other vessel is still alive, but not really defended, unfortunately. Look at that, though. Oh my gosh, the March of Ultralists. He's got like 8 Ultralists, a bunch of Zerglings as well, but we've got 2 Defense Matrix dropships. The Scourge can't kill through the Defense Matrix unless he sends 4 Scourge after 1. Here he comes in. He's going to try and clean up this southern position. There is a bunker there, but there's not nearly the same amount of reinforcements, so this bunker is going to go down very quickly. A few Zerglings poking into NaDa's main base, but they're going to die very quickly. But here's the double Defense Matrix drops coming down in Julyzerg's natural. They're going to kill all of the drones very quickly. The Spire is going to go down as well. That is huge. It looks like there's no other great tech to really kill. The Queen's Nest is not going to matter right now. He already has the Hive, so it's not a big deal. But Julyzerg says, you know what, screw it. I'm not going to bring my stuff back to defend. I'm going to lose my natural. I'm going to go for the kill. It's all in right now for both players right now, ladies and gentlemen. Both players have all their forces invested in the enemy base. Julyzerg goes into the third base and says, you know what, there's nothing to kill here. I need to kill the army, but first, and then I can just rampage around and everything. He's going into the main, ladies and gentlemen. He's got lurkers, he's got ultralists. The Marines are, it looks like 1-1 upgraded, maybe 1-2 upgrades, but he's got upgrades on the ultras now as well, so even upgrades, but the ultras are just slowly moving in. There's so many hit points here. It's impossible for NaDa to kill all of these ultras. Just thousands and thousands of hit points with high level carapace as well on them. I think he has the carapace upgrade from the ultras cavern. He definitely has the speed upgrade, but he's pushed in so far. NaDa though has these bunkers to fall back to, and he's still got this army that he dropped in the natural. He's killed off Julyzerg's natural expansion. Julyzerg still has his main, he still has his third, and he has the bottom left hidden base as well. So he's not out of it yet. He still has an economy, but NaDa's economy has not suffered at all. He's lost a lot of units. Now can he do enough damage with this drop? He's now dropped up into the main as well. He's going into the main. He's going straight for the heart of Julyzerg's economy. He needs this base. The drones are dying. The Ultralist Cavern is in danger as well. Julyzerg pushing forward with those Ultras, but they've been slowly whittled down to just a couple of them, but they're still going, still killing Marines. All NaDa has is this force of Marines that's in the main base, but they're in his opponent's main base, but his economy is intact, and so he's still able to slowly build more units in the main, and he's killed off the reinforcements that are trying to defend the main. The Ultralist Cavern goes down as well. And it's basically a base race situation. Both players trying to kill off each other's main bases as quickly as possible. But it looks like NaDa is accomplishing more than Julyzerg in this situation. He's going to kill the Hive. He's going to kill the Hydro's Den. Julyzerg has nothing left. He's got no tech left. He's got no economy. And there's the GG. NaDa has done it. He's come back from an early obliteration of his massive army being on the back foot. And he's re-macroed back and tacticked his way back into the match and taken the game away from Julyzerg, who just, you know, it was such a long distance that Julyzerg was so committed. He committed all of his forces to the southern route, the long distance route to his opponent's back door, and didn't have anything back in his main and his natural to defend the drop. And NaDa with just a beautiful tactical move, able to take the game there. And if that drop basically won him the game. If he didn't have that drop ship there, those drop ships off, killing Julyzerg's expansion and his main base, Julyzerg wins that 100% in my opinion. Maybe 90%. Because, you know, what does NaDa do at that case? Because then you saw how those Ultralists and Lings lasted for so long. They were just keeping killing. The units popped out of the barracks and they died. The units popped out of the barracks and they died over and over again. Their ultras were so strong that he couldn't get through them. Imagine if there was reinforcements because Julyzerg had the economy to send another wave of ultras, to send another wave of lurkerling to follow up. NaDa would have fallen to that definitely. But you know what? It's like the move that you see in a lot of movies, right? Where the opponent, they're having a sword fight and someone stabs them in the stomach, and they take the shot to the stomach in order to make their opponent have an opening to stab them in the heart in return, right? And that's exactly what happened. Is NaDa was being stabbed in the stomach, but he got his dagger into Julyzerg's heart in that game at the same time and was able to just do more damage. He had a bad wound, but it was not mortal, and was able to inflict deadly damage on his opponent while he was taking damage his own main base. So Julyzerg loses the game, and NaDa goes up 2-0 in the series, ladies and gentlemen. 2-0. Absolutely ridiculous game as well. Wow. So let's go back over here. We'll pull up the stats of the wins. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. 2-0 for NaDa right now. Pretty amazing stuff. Now, it's not over yet. Like I said, we've seen people come back. Julyzerg definitely capable of winning this series still. Julyzerg has to win on Neo Guillotine, Dream of Ballet, and then Requiem again, but I think it's completely possible. Now, I want to pull up Neo Guillotine real quick if I can find. No, OBS is being dumb. Hold on one second here. Here we go. Guillotine. So here's Guillotine again. And, you know, this is a map that we've seen a lot of shenanigans on. NaDa in particular has had some good shenanigans on this map. But if the Zerg player can defend, you know, it's kind of a strange map. It's good for mutalisks. It's a very good map for mutalisks because look at where the, you know, bases are for the Terran. It's so difficult to have your Marines in a spot where they can defend against mutalisks in the main and mutalisks in the natural at the same time. So if Julyzerg can, I think, get into the mid game, I think he's got a good chance of running away with this game. Even though we've seen, you know, some really crazy stuff by NaDa, and NaDa's been able to abuse the choke point situation where you need that third base, you need the third hatchery to defend your choke point on this map for the Zerg. NaDa's been able to run. He's done run bys to win. He's done early attacks. He's done harassment where he's slowed down the hatchery. So NaDa is really, really capable on this map. But if Julyzerg can deal with all that, he's seen those tricks. You know, he's seen those tricks. So is he going to be able to stand up to the tricks? Has he been able to practice enough to find a way to deal with them is the question. So we're going to find that out very soon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into game number 3. I'm going to take just a second to grab a drink of water here. All right, game number 3, ladies and gentlemen, on Neo Guillotine. It's going to be very interesting to see. Let's find out what happens. Can NaDa take a 3-0 victory? I mean, both of these games have been very quick games as well. So, you know, we're like 20 minutes of gameplay in, and NaDa is already up 2-0. Can he take a quick 3-0? You know, or can Julyzerg fight back into it is the question. If anyone, if any Zerg player can do it, well, it might be Go Rush, actually. But if any other Zerg player can do it, it's Julyzerg. And so we're going to find out if he can come back. I believe in Julyzerg. I think he can do it. Because, you know, like I said, NaDa's done, he's won with a lot of shenanigans on this map. But Julyzerg has seen the shenanigans. He's probably practiced ways to deal with the shenanigans. He's adapted. But the momentum is against him. Let's jump into game 3. See how this is going to go. All right, here we go, game number 3. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're in game number 3. This is the IOPS Star League. IOPS. I still don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced, but IOPS. IOPS Star League. Game number 3. This is the finals. Both of these players have defeated some of the best to get here. You know, going through Go Rush for NaDa, going through Good Friend for Julyzerg. Each of these players defeating one of the better players of their opposing race to get into the finals. And, you know, beating some of the best players in the round of 16 as well in order to get here. They have had to claw their way through some of the best Starcraft players and prove that they are, in fact, the top tier to get to these finals. And here we are in game number 3 with NaDa up 2-0. NaDa is up 2-0, ladies and gentlemen. Julyzerg really needs this win. I mean, not just like, even if it was a best of 7, like he would still need the win in order to, you know, get some momentum back, right? He really needs something to untilt him, basically. I don't know if he's tilted or anything like that. Korean pros don't tend to get tilted. But, you know, he needs something to get his spirits back. And even maybe accomplishing some sort of early aggressive attack might be what he needs. I'm not sure. But hopefully we can see a longer game here as well. Anyway, Julyzerg, and right off the bat, we've got something good for Julyzerg, actually. So he's gonna, once he figures this out, he's gonna maybe breathe a tiny sigh of relief when he realizes that it's cross positions on this map. I don't think I've seen a cross positions ZVT on this map yet, actually. So this could be very, very different. I almost always see close positions on this map. I'm sure I've seen one, but it's just like feels like I haven't, right? So and there's some other players from the from NaDa's team, or his coaches, I think, actually. One of them was a coach. The other one, I'm not sure if he's a coach or another player. Anyway, so cross positions, Julyzerg is going to be the bottom left-hand corner of the map. He's the red Zerg player. And NaDa is going to be the orange Terran player up at the top right-hand corner of the map. And the cross positions is going to be great for Julyzerg because, I mean, think about the way we've seen the games today, the way we see games in general. The Terran player pushes out early on, usually with a 2 barracks push of some kind, and the Zerg has to defend against it. Think about game 1. Think about game 1, how he just wasn't ready yet. Julyzerg just didn't have his defenses up in time to defend. He didn't have enough sunkens. His, 6 more Zerglings hatched a moment too late, right? That's, 10 seconds changes everything in defending a Terran push. 10 seconds is everything. We saw that when NaDa delayed Yellow's hatchery, and his sunkens were 10 seconds late because of that, and he won that game. 10 seconds is crucial, and you can buy those 10 seconds with tactics, with aggression, with cheeky plays, with distractions, but if you spawn cross positions, you automatically have an extra 15 seconds. And he actually kills off the scouting SCV. That's kind of cool. Or not scouting, was it a scouting SCV? It's the second SCV. It was the one that was building the barracks at the front there. And he had to escape after the building. But didn't escape long term. But I think NaDa has an SCV on the map already also. So I think he's scouted anyway. I'm not sure actually. It's hard to tell on the minimap to see where the vision is. But in any case. Oh, someone in chat says that they heard the Korean commentator say IOPS or probably EOPS or something like that. So okay, so I've been pronouncing it right this whole time. In any case, so yeah. Point being though, this cross position spawn is great for Julyzerg. He's got the extra time to get his defenses up. And actually, we don't even see him building a 3rd hatchery at this choke point yet. He's just going straight for Zerglings as his defenses, which is really interesting. Getting a lair down as well. He's gonna get that 3rd hatchery at some point anyway. But I guess he figures that having cross positions buys him enough time. He actually doesn't have to build static defenses in order to be able to defend. That's going to mean he's going to have a pretty decent economy going into the mid game. Scouting SCV still running around the main, able to trying to check out the lair timing. He wants to see exactly when the spire goes down. But there's vultures on the map. I saw this earlier, but I was kind of talking about the cross positions too much, so I didn't really get a chance to talk about it too much. But NaDa not going for the 2 barracks play. We've seen 2 barracks play on this map a lot. We've seen NaDa go for 2 barracks a lot. Instead, 1 barracks set his choke into a factory to get vultures on the map. Again, very, very effective. Can be very effective on this map. There's some more coaches there. I think that was Julyzerg's coach in the 2nd row behind that guy. I don't know who the guy in front was. Oh, he catches the vulture! Oh, it's so hard to kill vultures with Zerglings, but he almost does. Is he going to be able to track it down? Zergling. Oh, no, his Zergling's coming from the north. Didn't quite get there in time. Now, is he going to be smart and run some Zerglings through the mineral line? Yes, he is. He's going to try and trap that vulture. And he's actually not playing this as perfectly as he could with multiple groups going to different locations to really corner that vulture. He's just kind of right-clicked on the vulture with a bunch of Zerglings. There, he finally does polish it off. But not a ton of damage done, actually. But it's just 1 vulture. NaDa's gotten a starport, by the way, in the meantime. And it's probably just completing. Is he going to go for Wraiths? NaDa is crazy. We might see him go for Wraiths. Although actually in this era, Wraiths versus Zerg is not that crazy. It's something that we see more often than not. But he's got his control tower. We could be seeing drops instead. We could be seeing dropped vultures. Could be seeing dropped marines. But he's transitioning over into mostly bio. We're seeing more barracks up. So he's going to be able to get more marines out. And he's not going to go for any kind of mech or anything like that. Doesn't look like he's going to go for starport. Like 2 starport Wraiths. He's got a nice little defense there. Actually, let's see. Machine Shop is upgrading, so this might be a vulture drop, actually. He might be upgrading speed or mines, theoretically. Mines can be effective in some situations, because if your opponent has slow overlords, which Zerg very rarely upgrades speed on their overlords early on. Oh, it's the tanks! The tank drop on the high ground! Oh, I forgot about that. I forgot the fact that there's these ridges. We saw I think Goodfriend do this to a Protoss player. I think this is how he beat Reach or something like that. And I forgot completely about this option when I saw the possible dropship play. He's dropping tanks on the high ground, and Julyzerg can't really do a lot about it. Now, his Spire is going to complete at some point. He's going to be able to clean those up. But in the meantime, these tanks are completely shelling the expansion. He's actually killed off... he didn't get any drones. The drones have run away, but he's forced them to run away. So that is a lot of lost mining. Julyzerg looking to do a possible counterattack. He's got a significant number of Zerglings over here, but the wall is too strong. I don't think he can actually accomplish it. The hatchery goes down! The hatchery goes down! Oh no! This is huge. This is terrible for Julyzerg. He's got Hydralisks. The Spire is not yet complete though. You know, attacking Hydralisks against the high ground tanks would be suicide. He would just lose the Hydralisks. You have a nearly 50% miss chance aiming uphill. So it just wouldn't accomplish anything. He had a chance there to kill that dropship with the Hydras. Didn't really have the best opportunity to do so though. And now he's moved the tanks over to another spot. He's now shelling from the ridge outside of the choke point for the main base of Julyzerg. This is just really slowing Julyzerg down a lot. This is really, really bad. He's actually gonna, he's done some damage there. He's kind of, you know, prodded that choke point, and now he's gonna try and push to someplace else. But the Melists are finally out. They're gonna be able to kill off the dropship. He's gonna be able to drop out the tanks, and they might get some kills actually here. No. A single shot is going to come off. Sometimes if you get two tanks to shell a group of drones, you can kill several with the splash damage very quickly, but not quite able to keep them up long enough to do so. Alright, we got Zerglings pushing in here into the main though. The door has been opened up, but it's just Zerglings, so they're not really going to accomplish much. I'm not sure exactly what the point of that attack was. I guess he was hoping that NaDa would just be caught with no defenses, but you know, you're not going to catch NaDa with no defenses basically. In any case, rebuilding the hatchery of the expansion, but Julyzerg's economy is really in bad shape right now. He was not able to mine it. He's not been able to mine at that expansion at all. I thought maybe he would try and get another expansion somewhere else to hide it or something like that, but the threat of the tanks and the vultures are too much. And he hasn't really been able to get that. He wasn't able to mine that second gas, so his Melist count is actually pretty low also. He has gotten a hatchery up in that choke point, so he's going to be able to try and build some defenses there, but and critically, he actually kept his Hydralisk Den as well, actually. So he's going to be able to get the Lurker tech. He's going to be able to theoretically defend if he can get some Lurkers at that choke point with Sunken Colonies. He's going to be okay against the push, which is coming very soon. You know, Terran players, they build up a bunch of stuff, they push out. He's got a couple tanks, he's got a good group of Medic Marines. He's probably going to get a vessel out. He's waiting for an upgrade at the Academy, actually. Maybe did he not get stim yet? That's kind of interesting because he's been getting all these tanks and stuff, so he actually hasn't been spending his gas on the research for the Marines. But yeah, it looks like he doesn't have stim yet. Okay, their stim is finished now. But in any case, we're gonna probably see him push out very quickly. He might get a couple fire bats or something like that, and then he's gonna push out with another timing attack against Julyzerg. Can Julyzerg defend that? Is the question. Can he have the Lurkers out to defend this next push, which is coming at some point? And like I said, I think he's waiting for a vessel as well. We saw, you know, he had to get the science facility up. We saw the starport producing something. There's the vessel. There we go. The vessel comes out. The unsiege happens. He might be waiting for an upgrade on the engineering bay as well, actually. But he's pushing out across the map. Julyzerg coming in here, doing some free damage onto the science facility, but NaDa doesn't care. He's going for this push. He's got the vessel. He's got the tanks. He's got the Marines. He doesn't have the fire bats, but he's got the research as well. Oh, he's actually forced to float the... He actually didn't... He's really intent on this push, but that means there's probably no radiant. Julyzerg's counterattack could do some devastating damage, though. He comes in with a lot of Zerglings, a ton of Zerglings, and some Melists as well overhead. He's able to get into a position where the turrets can't attack him. He's forced to lift the barracks. There are no units being produced by NaDa right now. We are seeing another base trade scenario, ladies and gentlemen. The tanks come in early. The tanks go in early. And, oh, I thought he was going to lose the tanks to those Zerglings, but the Marines are barely able to save the tanks. If he lost those tanks, this push would have been over. But instead, the push is still on. The Marines, actually the reinforcement Marines and the tanks have cleaned up the main because the Melists had to fall back to deal with this push. Julyzerg not going all in on the base trade, instead bringing his Melists back across the map to try and defend this. The Sunken Colonies are buying time in order for Julyzerg to get more units. The Sunken Colonies, you know, they can't attack the tanks. Anyway, so they're basically just fodder. They're keeping things slowed down. NaDa is forced to siege up and unsiege, etc., in order to push in slowly. And all during that time, Julyzerg is just using this to buy time to try and get as many units out as possible. He's got 5 lurkers. I don't know if it's enough, but if he has enough units to go with it, if he has the Marines, I'm sorry, if he has his Zerglings and Mulas to go with those lurkers, it could be enough. He's got to have more lurkers coming in from the south, though. If he can reinforce, it's possible. But there's going to come a point where there's going to be a breaking point where either Julyzerg is going to basically have to push out. He's going to have to deal with this push. And there's too many tanks, and here it is. This is all or nothing for Julyzerg. He needs to defend against this. He needs to call off these tanks. He's going into lurkers, doing serious damage. He needs to push into lurkers. The lurkers getting into position, but they're not close enough to kill the Marines. The Marines can fall back. If he can kill those tanks, though, he might actually be able to hold this off long enough to get Marine reinforcements. The Marines go in to stim in to kill off the lurkers, though. There's no more forces. There's no more Zerglings to defend the lurkers, and the Marines are pushing in slowly and steadily. He's in the choke point right now. NaDa is playing this very carefully. He's playing this very well. He's stimming in to attack the lurkers when they're vulnerable. He's falling back when they're sinking, when they're burrowing in a good position. He's producing more lurkers, producing another hatchery in his expansion. But critically, NaDa is now in between. He's broken the choke point that defends both the natural and the main. He's going after the natural expansion now. Julyzerg is trying to build defenses at both locations. He's going to try and pincher this army, but there's a dropship out. We know what dropships can do. That dropship is the same dagger that NaDa used to stab into Julyzerg's heart in game number 2. Can he stab into the heart of Julyzerg's base in a third game and win the series and win the championship, ladies and gentlemen? He's on the verge of it. Julyzerg is balanced on a knife's edge right now, and if he falls, he will be sliced in half by that knife. And his forces, though, are also in danger. There's the drop going into the main base. Julyzerg now forced to try and abandon his pincher move in order to defend this. His spire's going down. The Zerglings are coming in. The spire dies. There's no more Mutalists, and there's no Mutalists to deal with this. He's going in to try and... No, the Zerglings go in and just die against the Marines. He doesn't bring in the lurkers as well. And this is crucial because going into that back side of his main base... Oh, what are the drones doing? Where are you going, drones? There's Marines there. Okay, well, they just sneak by anyway, I guess. It's fine. The second push is now coming across the map for NaDa, by the way. So Julyzerg has about 15 seconds to deal with that army. And then defend against the second push. He's got about maybe basically 10-15 seconds left now in order to mount enough defenses to deal with this push. This is a deadly looking push. All the tanks died earlier, and that really slowed NaDa down, but there's 3 more tanks now, a bunch more Marines, another science vessel. How can Julyzerg deal with this? He's throwing away Zerglings, maybe at least forcing him to slow down and stall a little bit. He's got to pick a point and defend, but where's he going to do it? If he goes in, okay, here he is. He's going to go in with the Zerglings. The lurkers burrow in a spot where they can kill off the tank. One tank goes down. He's targeting down the tank with the Zerglings. The second tank goes down. The third tank is going to maybe die to a single Zergling while the Marines are dealing with the lurkers, actually, which is crucial. If he loses all 3 of those tanks, that is huge. The tank is, like 20 hit points left on that tank. It's still very, very badly damaged, though, so I don't think it's going to survive another push. Julyzerg still in grave danger, though. He's lost a lot of drones. He's having a hard time putting out enough units to deal with this situation. This push is still a deadly push. More tanks are now traveling across the map. You know, they come in waves for Terrans. You don't want to rally everything at once because then if Julyzerg had Zerglings on the map, they could catch them one out, you know, catch out the single Marines traveling across the map. So we see these caravans moving across the map. His Defense Maester is the Marine, which could be preemptive to send that Marine in first to soak up damage. Julyzerg pushing out. Somehow, Julyzerg has created a huge army of lurkers or lings, but the lings go out ahead of the lurkers, and they're going to die to the Marines. Unfortunately, a huge pool of blood that's mostly Zergling blood. It's kind of an interesting, maybe even a philosophical thing to notice that the Marines and the Zerglings have the same color blood. But moving on from that right now to get back to the strategy of the game, Julyzerg has pushed out and taken control of his choke point. And crucially, this is the thing. Look at this. Look at those units. He's sneaking them out onto the map. They're going out into the open area of the map, which means he has a potential counterattack and he has a potential pincher. When NaDa moves into the choke point, Julyzerg can attack from 2 directions. That is how you defeat a push like this. You go from both sides. You trap the Marines so they don't have the room to maneuver. Julyzerg is not going to go for the pincher, though. I don't think this is the best idea, but he's going for the counterattack instead. Does NaDa have the reinforced units to deal with this? He doesn't have his choke blocked off. The lurkers walk right into the main choke point and burrow down. He's going to be able to burrow more lurkers directly onto the supply line. A huge attack, killing almost all the SCVs going into the expansion base. But NaDa says, you know what? I can deal with it. Every single time you've gone for a base trade, I've dealt with your counterattack, and you have not been able to deal with mine. NaDa pushing into the main base. Once again, going for the heart while he's been stabbed in the stomach. Going in, he's going to start killing off all the tech buildings. If the spawning pool goes down, Julyzerg won't be able to produce anything to deal with this. And he's actually, oh no, he's abandoned the counterattack to run his units all the way across the map. And that is a sign of desperation, ladies and gentlemen. The hive is going to go down. And Julyzerg is in such grave danger. I think people are clapping because they realize now that I think this is the end for Julyzerg. He only has one base mining. He doesn't have any tech anymore. He can't produce units. He can't even produce Zerglings right now. He's just desperately trying to fall back and defend his one expansion for some reason. But this is, I think, curtains. I don't think there's any way he can get back out of this. He still has some units out on the map. The defense matrix goes down on 3 Marines. They're going to come in and take the first blow from the Lurkers, absorb the damage, and force the Lurkers to fire the wrong direction as well. The Marines coming from the side. Actually, Julyzerg redirects the Lurkers. He gets down a Dark Swarm. He did get, he got his Defiler Mound out, and he's actually going to catch the tanks with the Zerglings that were out on the map. He's going to kill off those tanks as well. So Julyzerg, with a brilliant defense with almost nothing, is able to defend this push. He's got down a Dark Swarm as well. Somehow he managed to kill it. And he killed NaDa's expansion at the same time? Actually? Things are burning. NaDa's mined out at his main? I thought Julyzerg was dead. But maybe he's not. NaDa is not mining at all right now. Julyzerg is mining. He still has a Hydra's Den and a Defiler Mound. He can still produce Lurkers and Dark Swarms on top of the Lurkers. Can Julyzerg pull off a one-base comeback? Somehow, he just has basically barely the right tech in order to deal with this. Look, he's sending some Zerglings into his main just to see if there's any units there he needs to clear out so he can try and retake his main. NaDa has been forced to move his main command center over from his main base into his expansion so he can start mining again, because the Zerglings took out his expansion while all this was happening. He brought the Lurkers back to try and defend, but he left the Lings to do the damage, and the Lings did clean up the expansion. NaDa is mining now, though. Julyzerg needs to get in there and kill that expansion right now. He needs to go in there, lay down a Dark Swarm, a couple Lurkers and some Lings, and kill off the expansion immediately before NaDa can get back on his feet, because if NaDa gets back on his feet, I think he's going to have the advantage going into the later part of the game. This is absolutely incredible, but can he do it, though? There's another knife dropship out on the map. Where is it going to go? Is it going to be able to catch Julyzerg off guard again? Look at how close NaDa's base was to being obliterated. 2 of his barracks are burning. Not burning down, but they're on fire. One of his factories burning as well, on fire. So Julyzerg almost, just a little bit more leeway, and he would have been able to finish off NaDa, but he was forced to fall back to save his own hide. Ended up being, I guess, maybe the best move because he was able to defend. I didn't think he'd be able to. Some Zerglings trying to sneak out on the map are caught by the Marines. The Dark Swarm goes down. He's going to try and get the Lurkers underneath the Dark Swarm. Irradiates are going down, though, and Irradiates function even under the Dark Swarm. Look at this. NaDa has sent a dropship into the main, but there's no main there to kill. The Irradiates have killed off the Lurkers underneath the Dark Swarm, so it doesn't even matter. It's cute of him to put that Lurker in behind his base. I was going to say his expansion, but it's his only base right now. So that way, if there's anything on the high ground or if there's a drop there, it'll immediately be attacked by the Lurker. And where is this dropship going, actually? Does it even have anything in it? Is this just a fake drop that's happening or something like that? I think he scouted that there's no main, and I think NaDa knows that he just has to slowly constrict the knot around onto. And there's the Eraser coming in for the drones. And there's the GG! There's the GG! NaDa has won 3 games in a row, ladies and gentlemen, and he is now the OSL champion once again. It has been years since NaDa has won an OSL championship, and now he has done it again. He's done it again. His team is congratulating him, hugging him. He has done it, ladies and gentlemen. NaDa has won the OSL 3-0. What a commanding performance. His coaches are so happy. He looks like he's in tears as well. He is so relieved as well. A commanding performance, ladies and gentlemen. A dominant display. This was not barely winning 3-2 in a comeback against Go Rush. This was not barely winning 3-2. This was not anything like that. This was a crushing 3-0 performance. Absolutely dominating Julyzerg. This is not just a win. This is a statement that NaDa is saying, I am back. The man who defeated Uv, who could not be defeated, I have defeated in 3-0 fashion. And NaDa is saying that I am not just a champion, I am the best. You know, he's come back from his loss in the MSL finals and and shown that he is really, really a top-level competitor. He's beat Gorush in the rematch in the semifinals, and now he's beaten Julyzerg. He beat Yellow as well. He's beaten all 3 of the best Zergs in the game in 2005 in a row! In the last month and a half. Absolutely amazing. Amazing play. So, NaDa is the champion. And so this VOD has the interviews and what have you as well that are going to happen afterwards here. They're going to bring him out on stage. They're going to talk to him. I guess I'll see if I can look up in the background. Maybe there's usually not translations. I should have looked this up ahead of time, but I actually was dealing with so much stuff this morning that trying to get this cast going that I wasn't able to do this. I thought of it earlier. I was like, oh, I should look up to see if translations of the end of the whatever. But in any case, I'll try and find translations. But in the meantime, I also want to let the VOD run because I want it to be a little bit of an anti-spoiler that, you know, I want there to be some time left on the VOD. So when people are watching the end of game number 3, they might think that Julyzerg won and it goes on to additional games. So I want to make sure the VOD is nice and long. But yeah, I'm going to try and find to see if I can find some translation. Sometimes people translate in the comments on Team Liquid or something like that. But I'm looking back, it's funny, in 2005 people couldn't even find the VODs because this was a time when it was so hard to get a hold of Starcraft games. People actually uploaded like really like actual like, you know, WMVs to servers and stuff like that to download the VODs. Pre-YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. These are the old days. That's why it's such a treat to have these VODs now and be able to look back at these. Alright, let's see. Yeah, I'm not really finding the... I don't know if there was a thread about this. It's funny too that to look back at, you know, there's these coaches and these players, right, and these commentators. They really started all this, but they kept in it. Like that guy, I think his name is he's still a caster. 20 years later, he was one of the originals, right? And he's still a caster. It's absolutely crazy. All right, let's see here. Okay, here we go. Is this? No, yeah, I don't think there's I can't find any translations for any of this stuff. So, if you're watching this on YouTube later, and if I am able to find a translation, I'll go ahead and put a link to it in the video description so you can go ahead and read it. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and talk to chat for a little bit. I haven't really been able to talk to you guys because I've been focused on the games. I want to make sure the presentation was consistent, but I'm gonna go back and talk to chat while this is going on. And yeah, thank you guys for joining me. One thing I do want to mention real quick, you know, a couple of people have talked about production value and stuff like that. And again, my apologies that it took me some time to do some of the transitions and what have you, because I'm trying to do casting and I'm also trying to do the transitions at the same time, what have you. It's tough to do. That's why, you know, in a real TV studio, you have producers in the background that are doing all the transitions and what have you. The casters just have to look at a screen, and they don't have to worry about observing. They don't have to worry about transitions, anything along those lines. But in this case, I'm trying to do it all myself, so please forgive that. But that being said, you know, I just want to mention real quick that I am available to do graphics work, to do production work or anything like that as a freelancer. I've been doing some of that. I'm actually one of the main producers for the Los Angeles Science Festival. So I'm doing that as a freelance gig. But you know what? If you have an event for your work or a meeting or anything like that, and you want me to do some production work for you, just look me up and let me know. So a little self-plug there. All right. I've been missing. I didn't want to have the alerts playing in the middle of the games, so I haven't been looking at the alerts. But let me go ahead and turn the alerts on right now. And we can go back through and we can replay the alerts. All right, so thank you very much to the Optimator. Brood War! And he's probably cheering that that was at the beginning of the broadcast. Sorry again, a little bit of a delay on these alerts. But thank you very much, Optimator, for the bits. Kung Piss Tank, thank you very much as well for the bits. And Kung Piss Tank just a few minutes ago, as well, giving another 100 bits, saying that was quick. I don't know why it's not. I don't know why it's not showing your name. I apologize for that. Let me replay this one. It showed the Optimator, right? No, it's not showing anyone's name.
That was quick.
That's weird. Why isn't it showing everyone's name? Anyway, I appreciate it, but yeah, that was kind of quick. Okay, now it's going crazy and playing that a game. Okay. Okay, yeah. So the Optimator, it showed the name. I don't know why it's not showing Kung Piss Tank. Well, anyway, Kung Piss Tank, thank you very much once again. A very generous supporter of the channel and myself. I really appreciate that. Let me see. Were there any other alerts that happened on Ko-Fi? Just want to double check. Looks like no. If you guys don't know, I can't get subscriptions on Twitch because my account is broken and they won't fix it. But if you want to support me as a subscriber, you can always go to Ko-Fi. It's kind of like Patreon, but it's a more indie version, and they don't take nearly as many fees or anything like that. So I like it a little bit better. So you can always sign up as a monthly supporter on there if you want to subscribe to me, but not required. I'm still gonna keep putting out Starcraft. I've never been in this for money, obviously. I'm still gonna be doing Starcraft, and it's really been cool to be back doing Starcraft in the last. It's been almost a year actually. I started back again at the beginning of the pandemic in late March. It was the first time I did a cast again. So it's been almost a year that I've been casting Starcraft again. Now what they're doing is they're probably bringing up, usually they bring up like the CEO or the VP or something like that of the sponsor company. So that guy is probably from IOPS. He's probably going to come up and present the check or something like that. Is usually what's the case. I don't know, but he wasn't one of the coaches that went up and congratulated NaDa. He's wearing a suit. That's my guess about what's going on here. Yeah, I saw a lot of people saying that they used to watch a long time ago. Who was it that said it's like you're back in 9th grade? Or something like that. How'd this cast go on for 2 hours? Feels more like 30 minutes. Yeah, it has been. It's been an hour and a half. I had a decent length pregame show, so that's part of it. It's so awkward that they make the winner and the loser stand on stage together, and there's no like desk or anything like that. They're just standing up there, kind of awkwardly. It's really kind of interesting. And here they're bringing up probably some other CEO to present another check or something like that. Anyway, let's see. Go back. I'm gonna go back, check on chat here. And by the way, I might be responding to things that you don't see because we've got this playing on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. And that guy doesn't look comfortable. I wonder if he's ever been on a stage before. He's like looks a little nervous. That's funny. Let's see. Just going back. Oh yeah, but yeah. So there's YouTube and Twitch chat, both at the same time. I've got both pulled up at the same time. So. You're welcome, Chase. Thank you for coming. I'm glad people were able to enjoy it. Let's see. How many people we have watching actually right now? I don't know how many we have. I'm sure people have probably left since the end of the games as well. But anyway, like I said, we're just going to chat for a little bit. So, you know, if you don't want to stay and watch these awkward ending ceremonies, look at him. He's standing up there. He's just lost. He's like, I'm going to walk over here. He's like, no, stand over there. He's walking around with this giant bouquet of flowers and a check. That's got to feel like really interesting. Like, think about the feels going on in him. He's got a bunch of money. He's got a second. He's still won second place, but you wanted first, and he just got obliterated as well. So they're like congratulating him on his second place finish, giving him flowers, giving him money, but at the same time he's being congratulated while he feels bad for not winning it. Kind of an interesting situation. But yeah, so if you want to hang out and chat for a little bit, we're gonna watch to the end of the VOD, which it looks like we got a few minutes left on the VOD, and then we'll hang out and chat for a few after that as well. Just to make sure that the VOD length is a little bit longer. Man, like every CEO is getting a chance to come up here today. I don't know who these guys are, but... Oh! We just got an alert. It didn't pop up on screen for some reason. But I heard it. Bisu fan! Holy snap! Thank you, Bisu fan. Love the content, very nostalgic. Could you do some best of Bisu cast? Bisu fan just gave me a $20 donation. I don't know if he's even watching the live cast, actually. Might have just been someone who's been watching on YouTube. And there NaDa getting his big check. His first place prize finish. I guess it's not a check, is it? It's just like a... What is that? It's not a check. It doesn't have a price on it. It's just a card. Maybe it represents the check? And he gets a big bouquet of flowers as well. Anyway, BC fan, let me know if you're in chat. But thank you very much. That's awesome. This is so awkward. Man, this is one of the things I love about old school esports. This is what got me into the Starcraft scene in the first place, I gotta say. It's just such an interesting thing where you have these professionally produced tournaments, right? You have TV stations, you have pomp and circumstance, you have giant crowds, and then at the center of it all are these awkward nerds. It's so great. You know, it's this world where nerds can be the kings, right? Nerds can be the successes. You can be a winner at something which, you know, is considered in a lot of places and by a lot of people to be this niche thing. You know, people, oh, you're in your basement, you're playing games, and it's not really, you know, it's not really considered worthwhile a lot. But this is a world where it is not just worthwhile, but it's revered, and it's respected, and it's cherished, and it's celebrated. And, you know, I just think that's glorious. I think that's just absolutely amazing, where you have this situation where people who have invested their time and their efforts and their talents into something where, you know, something where it's... Oh, there's the alert. It finally went off when I changed screens. Thank you, BC fan. I just think it's amazing to have this kind of a world where things can be like this, where people can celebrate something that society tends to frown upon as being childish or as being frivolous. And, you know, we can have this world where people can get together who appreciate it. And it's not childish or frivolous. That's the thing that people don't realize. It's not like we're just ignoring the fact that it's childish. It really is something that, you know, can be a thing that brings people together. I love that about esports as well. I've made so many friends over the years through esports. You know, it's such an amazing world to have exist, that people who feel cast out by other parts of society, by the mainstream, can have this world of esports to be in and still participate in and what have you. So I just think that's just amazing. And so it's just so cool to see, you know, to see that, like, these are awkward kids. They're like 20 years old, and they're winning these big prizes playing video games, and they don't know how to deal with it. And that's just great. They're not, you know, superstars who, you know, are buff and talented and charismatic, who are able to, you know, go up on stage and you know, rah themselves and take the congratulations and you know, I don't know. It's just a cool juxtaposition. That's why I got into StarCraft in the first place. When I found out about esports, I was like, oh, that's cool. People are playing professionally this game that I played in college. Because I'm almost 40 now, actually. So college for me was when StarCraft was new. And at first it was just like, oh, people are playing this game I played in college and professionally. That's pretty cool. But then I saw the whole world that was surrounding it, and just got to see like how interesting it was, and just really cool situation. So anyway, that's my rant, my ramble there. We're out of the VOD, the congratulations VOD. So I thought I'd finish that thought, because like I said, I want the VOD on YouTube to be a little bit longer. So I'm squeezing in some rambling of my own as well. Does anyone in chat have any? That's pretty much it for me, though. Does anyone in chat have any questions or anything like that? Ghastly the Tinker says, been a fan since the good old days, 2008 or so. Missed the stream, it looks like, but wanted to poke in and say thanks for hosting. Sure thing, man. Glad you could come here. And if you want, the whole broadcast is gonna be on YouTube, probably tomorrow, sometime tomorrow, maybe even tonight. Actually, I'm not sure how fast I'll be able to get that uploaded. It's just a thing I have to do on Twitch, but I have to cut it and everything, and it has to process. So, but it'll be up on YouTube very soon if you want to go back and watch the whole broadcast. So there you go. Dreamcata says, SC2GG baby, do you remember this SC2GG site? Yes, of course I do. I actually checked recently when I started casting again, and then Rise was doing a little casting again as well. He's been really busy, so he hasn't been doing as much. But sorry, I've been yelling at my computer for a couple hours. It's starting to wear on me, on my voice. I checked, and the SC2GG domain it's being camped, unfortunately. It's like sort of available, but it's like, $5,000 or something like that. I was thinking like, oh, wouldn't that be cheeky to like get the old domain up and running again, as a nostalgia thing, but I'm not going to pay thousands of dollars to buy the domain from the domain camping service or anything like that. So that's okay though. It'll still remain in our memories. I still do remember that for sure. Basically, me and Diggity started it, along with Radival and another guy who was kind of bankrolling it, Aggie, I think, or something like that. But yeah, basically, Diggity and I were like, kind of got it rolling, and then it got very quickly out of our control. I don't want to take credit for very much of it because we started it, but then so many people joined and contributed to it that it became this whole beast that was a lot bigger than us. So that was pretty cool. Let's see. Keep it doing. Love it from Spain. Thank you very much, JVR. Appreciate that. Society is a degenerate cesspool. Says, oh, I forgot. His name. Sorry, his name is in Russian, and I asked him once what his name was, and I don't remember. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. But anyway, I don't know about all of society being a degenerate cesspool. I might have to disagree with that, but some people are, unfortunately. But you know what? You gotta make good things in the world to counteract those people that are being cessy. They're being part of the cesspool. I don't know. Anyway, felt like it was before you started following the cast. It may have been. You may have seen SC2GG before finding me. I don't know. But no, Diggity and I had been casting Starcraft for several months before SC2GG started, and then Radival and Aggie, the other guy, what's his name, Aggie? Something like that, approached us and said, hey, we want to start a website. Do you want to help us out and do posts on our website and stuff like that? And actually, before that, Diggity and I had another website we called Starblog, which was very simple, and it didn't have forums or anything like that. And that was pretty cool. But then we switched over to SCGG because it was a bigger thing at forums and other people doing writing and stuff like that. It was a much bigger deal. So better be a kid than a grown-up who spends his day in the gutter. All right, well, anyway, like I said, just, be a positive thing in the world for people. Anyway, let's see. I don't know if anyone's actually even still here. People are starting to drop off on Twitch. Like I said, any other questions for me or anything like that? Otherwise, I think we're going to go ahead and end the broadcast in a minute. But stick around because I want to raid someone. By the way, is BlizzCon still going on? I realized that I made a really stupid move, and I scheduled this during BlizzCon. So a lot of people that would want to be watching BlizzCon would have to, or want to be watching this might have to choose. Whoa! Sorry, I just was trying to lock my office chair and I accidentally made it sink down there. That was weird. Let's see. But yeah, so unfortunately BlizzCon was going on today. I haven't watched any of it, but supposedly that was happening. So let's see. if you're on YouTube, I can't do a raid there, but on Twitch I'll do a little bit of raid. We'll see if there's some sort of BlizzCon thing I can raid. Then maybe I'll do that. Let's see. Browse. Let's see who's on Starcraft. Maybe we'll. Yeah, there's no BlizzCon thing on Twitch, so I can't do that. Let's see. Who else do I know that's on right now? Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll just raid someone random on StarCraft. Anyway, I'll take recommendations if you want, but let me go back to the chat. Have you ever seen a baby pigeon? Dreamcat asks. No, I haven't actually. That's so weird. Oh, that's right. Your name is Chris. Sorry about that, Chris. I'll try and remember next time. But I'm terrible with names actually. I'm really good with faces. Obviously, I haven't seen any of your faces, but like I'm good with visual things. But I'm bad with names, so apologies. Whoop. Okay, my office chair is trying to kill me, apparently. No, I've never seen a baby pigeon. But why would I, though? They're in like a nest up in the tree somewhere, right? So I'd have to be climbing trees where there's a pigeon's nest, right? I don't know. Or maybe I guess the implication is that pigeons just like appear out of nowhere. They just manifest, right? They don't actually. Anyway, all right. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it for the cast. Go ahead and raid. Let's see, who's someone good to raid on StarCraft? Scrolling down to see if there's anyone like I recognize that I don't follow. I guess we can raid. We'll raid Terran. He's one of the top level players. He's playing in the BSL, so that seems like a good thing to do if you want some competitive StarCraft. So yeah, we'll go ahead and raid Terran. There we go. All right, so we'll get that started. But yeah, I'm gonna close it out there. And again, thank you very much for watching. And if you're still watching on YouTube on the VOD later, then thank you for watching as well. Much appreciated. And apologies that, the VOD's going to be a little bit wonky because this was done live, and so there was some pauses and that kind of thing, me talking to the chat on my other screen and all this kind of stuff. But, that's just the nature of a live broadcast. But if you missed the live broadcast and we have the VOD for you, at least there's that. So, yeah, that's going to do it. Again, thanks very much for watching. If you are still watching this on the VOD, leave a comment if you have any thoughts on what to do next. We've done 2 Star Leagues in a row. Kind of thinking about maybe just keeping going and do the next Star League after this. I actually don't even know what the next Star League was after us. Let me just check real quick. Raid's going to go off soon. I don't have time to check. All right, anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and stop streaming. But thank you very much for watching. GG. That was an exciting series. Even though it was a 3-0, it was a really cool 3-0. So I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. That was really fun. And fun watching the whole Star League as well. So anyway, peace out. Take care, everybody. I hope you're doing well. And have a good one.